Here in Britain, the Prime Minister Gordon Brown is promising to halve Britain's budget deficit and overhaul financial regulation. Now, these ambitious plans were announced today amongst the pomp and circumstance of the annual state opening of Parliament. It's known as the Queen's Speech. The Financial Services Bill called for a new Council for Financial Stability. It also allows the tearing up of overly risky employment contracts. Now, the government also hopes to pass a fiscal responsibility bill. It would enshrine in law a government commitment to halve the budget deficit within 4 years. Well, there's been much criticism that the promises are merely gesture politics. They are ahead of an election. It's due before the summer, especially the curbs on bankers' bonuses. Let's concentrate on the compensation issue. And I'm joined by Chris Roebuck. He's a visiting professor at Cass Business School here in London and has worked as a senior HR executive for several big European banks. Is this a real threat to banking in the United Kingdom, this kind of attempt to control the way that they're paid?
I think it's fair to say that in terms of this market, it's a global market, and therefore, to some degree, if something happens in any particular part of that market that means people are disadvantaged commercially, they're going to respond in a way that maintains their profits and commercial viability. So there is a potential threat if it's mishandled.
All right, well, let's have a look at it a bit more closely about how they could curb, let's say, call them bankers' bonuses, ways of compensating bankers. Is there a realistic way of being able to do it legally? I mean, can they just say, look, if we don't like this contract, we think it's going to make the bank too risky, play around with people's money, we'll tear up the contract. We can do that.
I think there's certainly questions about whether that's actually possible, both in practical terms, in risk management and assessment terms, and also in terms of practicality, given there's only 70 parliamentary days between now and the election.
Yeah, I will have to put that one to one side about there's a possibility that it may not get through because of the election looming. But it just why can't a government just say, oh, well, we'll just tear this up? We think it's a bit too risky, this contract. It's giving this person too much money.
But the question really is the degree to which the government has the capability to assess whether that contract constitutes a reasonable risk, a high risk, or an unacceptable risk.
So you mean the lawyers could really get their hands on this?
Absolutely. One could envisage a situation where a banker who has their contract torn up completely turns around and says, right, I'm off to court, I'll see you in court.
What about the feeling that bankers, as soon as they get their bonus curbed, they can only make $1 million when they were making $2 million bonus, they're just going to go off. They're going to go off to Abu Dhabi. They're going to go off to China.
I think there's an argument to say that there are people within the global banking industry who have the capability to move anywhere in terms of geography, who have the capability to move anywhere in terms of organisation. And should that be appropriate, they will. I think you also have to consider the organisation's perspective, in that if by moving an office from one jurisdiction to another, you're actually going to maximise your profits, then they will.
OK, we'll leave it there. Chris Roebuck, thanks very much.
Thank you very much.